The Xiaomi15 is here with HyperOS 2, the Vivo X200 Mini with the OriginOS 5. The iOS is also here on the iPhone 16 Pro Max and also One UI 7 Beta, guys. One UI 7 Beta 2 on the S24 Ultra, Android 15, Android 15, Android 15. There is an update here, but I'm not gonna install it. iOS 18.2 is also available, but guys, I want to test the interfaces and also the animations between those phones. Because believe me, now that we have One UI 7, the second beta already, and we do have the OriginOS 5 with the latest Vivo iteration, well, things are getting very, very close. And no, it's not only about the animations, because see here, guys, right? We have something called the dynamic island, and let's say that things are getting very, very close with some of those China phones coming up with the original, not so original idea of the Origin Island. But guys, I don't really care as long as it works, as long as there is some value to it. I don't really care, because competition nevertheless is good. Now, I know what you're gonna say, hey, you know, like the Chinese phones, they really ripped off totally the iPhone and the iOS, but I am going to show you there are even some things inside the latest One UI 7 Beta 2 that are, well, yeah, nevertheless a bit similar. Let's start with the always on display. A double tap will activate the beautiful lock screen on all of those phones. Now what I want to compare is the moment they switch from lock screen to always on. And you can see, right, the Chinese phones use 1 second to go from lock screen to always on, and the S24 Ultra and the iPhone kind of has this integrated like always on to lock screen. A lot of people calling this being the fake always on. I don't really care, it looks gorgeous. And now guys, to the lock screen, because this is where it gets really interesting. What can we do on the lock screen? And by the way, pay attention, right? We have already the depth effect here on the Vivo X200 Pro Mini, OriginOS, and also on the HyperOS. And some people are saying that they got this from Apple, but they've been phones doing this before even iOS implemented it. So in this video, the idea is not to just say who is first, who was second, but just to compare it. So how do we add it to the lock screens? Let's do this on the Xiaomi. Click here, customize lock screen, and then boom, customizations options. How do we do that on the Vivo? Go to the lock screen. You need to pinch somehow with your fingers. You arrive at the editing screen. How do we do that on the iPhone? Click somewhere on the screen, unlock it, and you're here. How do we do it on the Galaxy S24 Ultra with One UI 7? Hold your finger here, right? Then unlock the phone, boom. You will now arrive at this editing interface. HyperOS 2 customization is really beautiful, and if I have to show you everything that you can do here, I need to release the director's cut of this video. That is gonna be somewhere between like 2 to 4 hours. But just let me show you something for starters. We have people, right? And by the way, notice this thing here. This means it's dynamic. And not only do we have the depth effect that you can just switch on and off, you can also have a video with depth effect. And if you're not happy with the stock videos, then you can actually use your own video and put it here, have it on the lock screen and also on the always on. You can turn on and off the dynamic thing, and of course also play with the depth effect. So basically everything here is customizable. So if you click on the clock here, you're gonna see that you have different layouts. Now let's check the Vivo X200 Pro Mini with the OriginOS 5. And you can tell that from an interface perspective, it looks pretty much similar with the cancel and apply button up here, and then all the rest down below. You can scroll down and actually create new pairs. These pairs is actually a pairing effect among the lock screen, the home screen, and the always on. So I kind of like the way they implement it as well. I can show you, let's use that one here for as well. It's going to apply it everywhere. So now this is going to become my lock screen, also my always on, and of course also my wallpaper on my home screen. So if I unlock the phone, you're gonna see it's gonna be very beautiful. And if I close the phone, go to always on, all right, and now go back, you're gonna see I have this beautiful animation. Now the always on was from another team, but you get the point. It's very, very powerful. How do you edit this? Click on an element and then be presented with a lot of options, fonts, content, clocks, you name it. Now, this is the iOS 18.1, and I know there's 18.2, it's probably gonna be just about the same. I like it, it's very minimalistic. You can click customize and pretty much just customize your lock screen or the home screen, or you can choose from these beautiful themes here. How do we change the elements? You need to click on the customize button, let's say select the lock screen, and we pretty much have the same idea. You see how close it is, guys, the HyperOS with the OriginOS with the iOS, and this thing here is the One UI 7 Beta 2 on the S24 Ultra. It works exactly in the same way. So click this element, font and color, style, all kind of color. I do believe that all these 4 fonts on my table are so close in terms of customization options. In One UI 7 here we have the widgets. Click down and you have plenty of widgets. You can also change the individual shortcuts. On my Vivo I can click the add widgets, and then I have some very nice and beautiful widgets here. So I can just probably put it, this is the device battery. Let's put also the temperature, and you can see there is kind of like a limited list. Now what I like about the One UI 7 is they put so many stock widgets. It's absolutely crazy how many things you have, like widgets for the camera, even for the expert RAW. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but the expert RAW is another stock camera app that gives you more functionality with the camera and shooting RAW and astrophotography and etc. Somehow this doesn't work on my Hyper. I'm not sure what I did there, but it should be pretty much the same concept, and as well on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Click here, add widgets, and you can see you have batteries, you have calendar. Right, if I click on the calendar, it's gonna be pretty much exactly the very same feeling. I can also try to add widgets from the apps. So you see, in terms of customizations on the always on display and the lock screen, I do believe that all phones on the table are very close. I am now on my home screen and I want to give you the basics. One swipe on the Xiaomi15 will reveal the quick panel. Same on the Vivo phone and same on the iPhone, same also on the One UI 7. Something new on the One UI 7 is you can choose this view or go back to the together view. We are gonna get not only the quick panel but also the notifications. Speaking about notifications, one swipe on the left will give me notifications here as well, and here as well. And this is how it really looks like. Again, I'm not saying this is better than this. I just want to compare these guys so that you know what to expect if you want to buy this phone with the HyperOS 2, or let's say you go for the Vivo X200 Pro, or you want to stay like hardcore iOS or One UI Samsung fan. Here inside, you know how it goes. Swipe left or right to just get rid of some things. All right, here it's pretty much the same. Here is the same. No big changes in that regard. Here we have a button to clear all of them. All right, so here, yeah, we have a button that says clear. I'm just gonna clear all of this. Now on the iPhone, it's from here, so let's just clear everything. And here on the Chinese phones, I guess it's kind of easy. You directly can do this with the touch of a button. Now let's check the volume rocker. Volume rocker pops from the right. Volume rocker pops from the right. On the iPhone, of course, it's gonna be from the left, and again, from the right on the Samsung. This is the expanded view. Well, no expanded view here apparently on iOS. This is the OriginOS 5 expanded view, and this is the Xiaomi one. Now let me know, guys, in the comments, what do you think works best for you? Something that I do like in particular is the fact that the moment you start manipulating, the volume rocker on the iOS will just slim down and will not obstruct your view. I kind of like that thing. Now, this doesn't really work on all of the other phones, but this is the main screen. One swipe to the left will give me here the upvolt. I'm not sure how it's called here, probably Origin something. Usually on my Samsung Galaxy, I am using Google Now here, and when I swipe to the left, I'm gonna get here also an option on the iOS to just add some widgets and whatnot. And you can really tell how equalized this is. Now let's just go back on the quick panel and just review something. People are saying that Xiaomi is copying Apple, but in the same time, people are also saying that One UI is copying iOS, and in the same time, like this is copying this. So, you know, at some point, I do believe in this game, everybody's copying everybody else. And yes, maybe Apple and Samsung are kind of like leading this show, but nevertheless, what are the dry facts, guys? This thing here looks very similar to this thing here and to this thing here, but this is my personal top, because I really like this style from One UI 6.1, where we have the connectivity. We have also the quick settings here with the sliders here for the volume control and also for the brightness. Pay attention to this small detail. The moment I go to the right, it will illuminate. The moment I go to the left, it will become darker. Simple, small details, but I do appreciate them, and it's important for me. We do have plenty of new things in One UI 7 beta, like the battery icon with the percentages inside, but you pretty much see how it goes. Now, this is the brightness slider. on the Xiaomi. This is the brightness slider on the Vivo. Something that I like. See, the moment I touch it, you know, I go back immediately to the home screen to just see what is going to happen. Let's see what happens on the iPhone. Now, you stay on the lock screen. I kind of like the implementation here because you just go back to the home screen and you can see in real time, you know, what is going to happen. What happens on the S24 Ultra? Well, yeah, it's the same. Again, I'm just trying to discover these very nitty-gritty details, guys, because things have never been so much equalized. And with saying this, I want to show you something that I do believe is interesting and I think you need to know about it. So let me first go and start a timer here on my Samsung phone. So I'm just gonna go timer, start a timer. The moment I minimize it, something's going to appear here, right? This is something that Samsung are calling the Now bar. Let me also try to put a song with the standard Samsung music player. So now here, guys, I have the timer, right? I'm gonna go back on the lock screen and you can see here, guys, I have my music player and I can swipe and get back to whatever I want, which is kind of cool, right? People are saying that One UI is trying to copy Apple, but let's just see how it works on the Apple ecosystem. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go inside my clock and I'm going to put a timer, right? Timer starts running, boom. The timer information is here with my S24 Ultra. When I click this thing, it's gonna go back directly to the app. Let me show you something that I think is kind of funny. I'm gonna do the same thing on the Vivo X200 Pro Mini. I'm gonna start a timer, boom. And now, guys, you can see, right? Like, this is absolutely a copy from the dynamic island, right? But you know, people were hating on this and blaming Vivo for copying this, and I do believe that also Oppo has it. But you know what? I've been using this phone for like 3 days already, and I think this is really useful. So let me just start something else. I'm gonna play a song here, right? And you can see, guys, I have now my timer information. When I click here, boom, it's actually my song, and I can also, you know, change and swipe and just get rid of them. Let's see what happens on the original. I'm gonna open Spotify, I'm gonna play a song. So yeah, you can see I have here apparently Spotify playing. I can click, just go back to it, and of course I can just swipe left or right to change the places of the icon. And I have to admit, this thing here is really a copy of the dynamic island, and you know what? They even called it the Origin Island. Let me put a timer on my Xiaomi15. Alright, so timer is on. The implementation in Hyper looks a bit more like the implementation here, but well, yeah, here we have this shape. And because of this shape of the Now bar, people are just saying that it's a blatant copy from iOS. But then again, everybody seems to be doing right now. So yeah, this is really how it looks like. Now let's go back on the always on display. The S24 Ultra with the One UI 7 Beta 2 will show me the timer on my always on display. Okay, what is gonna happen on the iPhone? Yeah, circle. Let's say I have to click to see the exact seconds, but nevertheless, the timer works. Now, let's see if it's gonna drop to 3 minutes. And in the same time, I am going to also lock the Vivo X200 Pro Mini. What happens here, guys, on the always on display, right? I cannot see it for any reason. And what is happening on the Xiaomi? Just go back on the always on timer running. All right, so probably it's a setting here, but you see timer running is just not enough. So I can go on the lock screen and then I'm going to see the timer here probably as well. Yeah, I can see the time on the lock screen, and probably you can also put it on the always on display, but just timer running is not enough. The One UI 7 Beta 2 implementation is just so sweet because it's gonna show you the seconds and the minutes. iOS, like the father of the dynamic island, will only show you the minute here, and you have to click activate the lock screen. And I do believe that the implementation here on the S24 Ultra is just so good. Something else I wanted to show, right? And I know now people will say, yeah, you're not using stock players. I don't really care. I have my Spotify. All right, I go here on my always on, I click on the lock screen, select it, and we have this very nice, you can see, beautiful animation, and it changes all the colors. Okay, let's do the same here. I'm gonna put Spotify. I'm gonna go back and lock the phone, go on the always on, nothing here. Well, now here, yeah, I see that I have a song. If I click on the song, I need to unlock the phone to be able to go back to the application. Now let's play the song on my Vivo. I'm gonna minimize it. And by the way, guys, you can see something that I like, right? They say that Vivo and Oppo copied from Apple, but let me show you something that I think is quite important. I am going to open Spotify. Let's try to play a song. Right, the moment I click this here, boom, I go back to the app, but I don't want to go back in the app. I maybe want to go to the next song and see the Origin Island copycat implementation of the original iOS Apple iPhone Dynamic Island. When I click here, boom, I have what I need to have, my controls. If I want to go back in the app, I can click one more time, right? But this is neat. Don't shoot me. There might be a setting on the iOS I'm not familiar with. I mean, we are still human, right? We do errors. Now let's play this song on my Vivo, and I want to go to the always on display. Timer is up here, nothing here. All right, let's go to the lock screen. And yes, I can see that. And when I click it, this is something that I don't really like. I have to go back to the player. Anyways, the same also here, but just this animation is so much better, guys. I really like the lock screen from the OneUI 7. So for me, this is really so good. And you can see how it dims the screen when I just click, right? I can click back, and yeah, it's kind of like something that really resonates with me. But don't get me wrong, you can see like how powerful are now all these phones, the Android phones, starting with OneUI 7, with the OriginOS, also with the HyperOS, and of course also the iPhone. But the iPhone, the iOS, still a bit more limited in terms of what you can do here and there. But anyway, guys, I promise this video to not be the director's cut, and it's time to test the sweet animations, because a lot of promises have been made with OneUI 7. This is better too. iOS still considered to be the king of animations, but then we have HyperOS and OriginOS. First, let's start with some folder opening on my Xiaomi15, on the Vivo, on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and also on the Samsung. And now let me just close some of the folders. Have in mind, guys, that the Chinese phones have so many settings, and you can pretty much customize even the speed of the animation. The OriginOS has a thing called Mood Cube, from which you can directly change so many things. With the Xiaomi, it's kind of the same. When you click inside for more, you have the option to change the animation speed. So you can go for a balanced one. You can see the balanced one, it's gonna be just tiny bit more relaxed, or you can just go for a very fast one. It's gonna be really crazy, like see here, the fast animation, right? So if fast animations are your thing, you might change your settings. The same is also on the Vivo, right? And you cannot easily change those things yet on iOS and OneUI 7. Now let me show you something interesting. I'm gonna take this folder here, click edit, right? And I can enlarge it. So I can have a folder like this, right? And by the way, every item inside is going to be clickable, which I kind of like. And we have more sizes, so I can also hold a finger, click edit, and go for the XXL. It's gonna be like a monster folder. Let's try to do this here as well. When I click the folder, there's gonna be a resize button. And guys, see here, you can also have something like this, or manually resize it to the size you want. This is really, really cool. Now on the iPhone, we don't have this yet. How does this work on the OneUI 7? Just hold your finger, enlarge, boom. And again, every item here is just gonna be clickable. I really like that one. But because this video is meant to show things you probably don't know, there is something that I really like about the OriginOS 5. Now, let me share something with you. These things here, right? You think those are widgets. And they are widgets, but on OriginOS 5, they're called kits, guys. In OriginOS 5, I can go to the folder setting and choose a 4x4 icon and kit mode. Now remember, every time I say kit, you just think about a widget. What happens now, besides the fact that all my icons are small and yeah, they're not clickable because you go direct to the folder, I can take this kit here or this widget, boom, put it inside a folder, guys. So I'm not even sure why you want to do this, but why not? Like now I'm going to have a folder with a kit inside that is actually a widget. And this is really something that I like. Like this mode is cool because why not? Like why not have the option to put your own widget inside the folders? Again, I am all for customizations. Can we do this on the Xiaomi? Let's check. Edit folder, sort apps. Automatically we have three sizes. No. Can I just take this and put it in my folder? See, no. Now let's continue with the animation testing. This time I'm gonna open the camera app because some of you said, hey, nobody's just doing this with the camera app. Well, why not? I'm gonna do this with the camera app. Okay, so let's start with the camera. You can see very smooth on the Xiaomi. Let's do this on the Vivo. Also smooth on the iPhone. I don't think the iPhone is gonna have issues with this. And here as well, also on the S24 Ultra. Now guys, OneUI 7 Beta 2 is so good, sometimes I even forget it's a beta. Alright, so more animation testing. Let's just try to open a standard dialer, messages dialer. And you pretty much see the idea, guys. Like all these phones, they do have uninterrupted non-linear animations. And of course, like iPhone animations are really so good. You can see. Let's check OneUI 7 Beta 2, alright. I mean, you can see like I can really start and open and close all this applications without necessarily the phone to stutter. But I have to be honest with you, although it works now, sometimes still there are these stutters, but it's good and I really hope that Samsung will polish this. And let's check now, guys, the Origin OriginOS, Jesus, OriginOS is also so smooth, and they have these nice effects, you know, like with zooming in and zooming out the background. Now, the same here on the Galaxy. Let's just open something. See, zoom in, zoom out. Let's open the App Store on the iOS. Again, zoom in and zoom out. And here, guys, very beautiful on the OriginOS. Let's do this on the Xiaomi. Yeah, we don't have this zooming in, zooming out on the wallpaper, and I'm a big fan of it. OriginOS is being really very smooth, and you can just see like all the different elements. I mean, absolutely marvelous, guys. You can see how quick, how fast, no stutter whatsoever. And this is the iPhone. I mean, it's kind of like the standard in this, so no big surprises. The question is, how good is now the One UI 7 Beta 2? And from what I see on the screen right now, yeah, I think it's quite acceptable. All right, guys, let's check also the recents menu. Recents menu here, here, and here. Something that I like in the One UI 7 Beta is how it stacks the application. That's kind of cool. iOS, I would say boring. Xiaomi is kind of like also boring. And you might think that OriginOS is boring too, but you can just click here or with your finger, right? Just pinch like this. And at the end of the day, it really looks cool. And yes, no close button on iOS. Do you know why? Because, I mean, Apple knows better than you. Guys, if I'm to show you every single element, I'll probably require something like 3 to 4 hours. But nevertheless, I really hope that I was able to show at least the basics. And if you enjoy content like this, just go and watch some of my older stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, VST over, and bye.